My wife told the judge she wanted everything, the house, the cars, the savings, just not our son. I said to my lawyer, give it all to her. The courtroom fell so quiet I could hear the hallway's old ceiling fan clicking like a loose blade on a summer porch. Even the bailiff stopped shifting his weight. Judge Klein's pen hovered over the paperwork, frozen. Linda sat straight in her navy blazer, her hair smooth and bright, styled for the cameras. She didn't look at me like the woman who'd watched me come home with concrete dust on my boots for 27 years. She looked at me like I was an outdated appliance. Her lawyer, Mara Keene, tilted her chin with the quiet confidence of someone who thinks the math is simple. House, cars, accounts, retirement, and the one thing Linda didn't want to deal with, our son, Evan. My attorney, Tom Brereslin, leaned in, peppermint on his breath. Rick, this is insane. She's overreaching. We fight this. I kept my eyes on the corner of the table where someone had carved a tiny heart years ago. No, give it all to her. My voice was calm, like I was ordering coffee. Linda's lips twitched, not a smile, but satisfaction. She'd finally gotten what she believed she deserved. Judge Klein cleared his throat. Mr. Holloway, I need to be sure you understand what you're agreeing to. I understand. And I did. People think a building inspector spends his life looking for problems in other people's houses, but the truth is, after 30 years, you can't turn that eye off. You walk into your own kitchen and see the floor dip near the fridge. You notice the hairline crack in the drywall and tell yourself it's just settling. That's what I did with my marriage for years. The judge looked down. And you agree your wife retains the marital residence, the vehicles, and the bulk of the joint assets. You retain personal property and primary custody of your son, Evan Holloway. Linda made a small, swallowed sound. Evan was 19. The court didn't have to decide custody, but she'd made her position clear anyway, everything except the son. That line didn't just land in the courtroom, it landed in my chest. Evan wasn't a couch you could replace when it didn't match your new look. But Linda had already decided he didn't fit the picture she wanted to post. Mr. Holloway, the judge said, softer now. Is anyone pressuring you into this? I looked at Linda. Her eyes were dry, steady, beautiful even in their cruelty. No, Your Honor, no one's pressuring me. I signed the page they slid toward me. The pen felt heavy, not because it was hard to write my name, but because of everything that name had meant, years of building, fixing, trying to do right. Linda watched my hand move like she was watching a wire transfer. The hearing wasn't the end. It was a door closing, and I'd walked through it in my head months before. This started at 2:07 a.m. with the blue glow of Linda's phone lighting the kitchen like a police siren. I'd gotten up for water, padding past framed photos of a life that felt solid enough to last. She was hunched at the table, thumbs moving fast. The message on the screen was easy to read from the hall. Can't wait to have my own play stage. You're going to look unstoppable. Then another. Once you're free, you won't have to drag dead weight around anymore. Dead weight. I backed away without a sound. In the bathroom mirror, I saw an older man with crow's feet and tired eyes. When Linda slipped into bed later, she smelled like lavender and lies. I didn't confront her the next day. That might sound weak, but I've seen enough houses where people panic when you point out a crack. They patch it with cheap filler. That doesn't fix the leak. So I started inspecting. Not her phone, her life. Linda had begun treating our home like inventory. Her home staging, side hustle, started small. Just a few pieces. Rick. Temporary. But temporary became constant. First, the throw blanket Evan's grandma had crocheted disappeared. Then our good lamp. Then the dining chairs I'd tightened bolts on after Evan spilled milk on them at age 5. Our living room grew hollow. The best couch vanished one Saturday while Evan and I were out. When we returned, a sagging loveseat sat in its place. Evan stared. Where's the couch? Linda breezed in, Starbucks in hand. It's at a client's. This one works. He looked at me, and I swallowed the anger because I didn't know where to put it yet. Boxes piled up in the garage, taped shut in Linda's handwriting. The joint account dipped at odd times. Then, the college fund statement arrived. The balance was thousands lower. One transaction line, transfer out. That money wasn't ours. It was Evan's future. Linda had taken it like she was borrowing a lamp. She clicked into the kitchen. heels sharp, confident. I slid the statement back into the envelope. For the first time, I understood. She wasn't leaving a marriage. She was stripping a house down to the studs to sell the lumber. I didn't sleep much after that. I lay awake tracing a hairline crack in the ceiling, the one I'd told myself was just cosmetic. Nothing worth fixing. That crack was my marriage. Linda spent less time at home. Client meetings. She'd leave dressed sharper than she ever did for me. Sometimes she didn't come back at all. Evan noticed. One Saturday over pancakes. He asked, casual but not, "Mom working again today?" "Yeah," I said. He nodded, eyes on his phone. "Okay." The garage filled with rolled rugs and boxed lamps. My tools were pushed into a corner. Linda called things assets. One night, surveying the bare living room, she said, "I need the dining set next. We eat on that table." She sighed like I was a child. "I'll bring it back." "When?" "When I can." Evan stood in the doorway, listening. I shook my head just enough to say don't. I started keeping track, dates, times, what left and didn't return, not to trap her, but because that's how my mind works. You document what you see, you measure the rot. 2 weeks later, on a gray Tuesday, I called the investment company from my truck. The transfer was authorized by an account holder. The woman said, "Which one?" "Mrs. Holloway." That evening, I had the statement on the kitchen table when Linda came in humming, a boutique bag in hand. She froze. "What's that?" "The college fund. It's missing money." "It's an investment. It'll come back." "You took Evan's money." Her face hardened. "It's our money. Evan will be fine. Kids figure it out." She turned away. "I'm exhausted. We'll talk later." Later never came. The house emptied further. One night, Evan sat at the table, staring at his phone. "Dad," he said quietly, "are we moving?" I felt that like a nail through my boot. "I don't know yet." He nodded, jaw tight. 3 weeks later, Linda announced she wanted a divorce like it was a new business venture. "I want more out of life," she said, already knowing what she'd take: house, cars, accounts. I asked, "What about Evan?" She waved a hand. "He's basically grown. He can stay with you," like leaving behind a piece of furniture she didn't want to move. That night, I sat on the cheap love seat. The walls felt farther apart. I pulled out my phone, opened the Notes app, and titled it Renwood. I started writing everything down. The thing about rot is that once you see it, you can't unsee it. I called Tom Brereslin the next morning. We met at a diner with cracked vinyl booths. I laid it out like a violation report. Facts first. Tom listened, then leaned back. "She's asking for a lot. We can fight this." "I'm not here to fight." "Then why are you here?" "I need to know how a building falls without taking the wrong people down with it." He studied me. "If you push back hard, she'll bleed you dry with delays and fees." "And if I don't?" "You might lose everything." I looked at my hands, scarred. "Steady. Everything isn't everything." Tom nodded slowly. "Okay. Then we go quiet. We document and we wait." Waiting was harder than fighting. Linda took my silence as surrender. She posted photos of her transformations online, boss, unstoppable, and liked the comments. I documented photos of the garage, serial numbers, bank statements, transfers that lined up with purchases. I found the storage unit charge in the checkbook, monthly, not cheap. When I asked, she barely looked up. "It's for overflow inventory. You don't need to know every detail." She was right. I didn't need details. I needed location. A quick search showed the unit was in an industrial strip, not zoned for how she was using it. Fire codes, liability issues, the kind of thing that doesn't matter until it does. I didn't report it. I didn't call it in. I just wrote it down. Because sometimes you don't stop the collapse. You just make sure you're not standing under it when it falls. Letting someone build on bad ground isn't the same as pushing the building over. Evan found me at the kitchen table one night, a legal pad open under the hum of a cheap desk lamp. "You okay?" he asked. "Yeah." He hesitated, then sat across from me. "Mom says you're letting her take the house." "Is that what she said?" He nodded. "Said you don't want to fight." I chose the words carefully. "I'm choosing what matters." He looked down, then back at me. "That's me, right?" I reached across and squeezed his hand. Always. Linda filed for an expedited settlement. Fast. Clean. A clean break from the past. Her lawyer sent drafts that read like a manifest. House. Cars. Accounts. Business interest. I agreed to almost everything. My only conditions. Evan. And time to review. Her lawyer called Tom. Irritated. Your client is being uncooperative. Tom smiled when he told me. Impatience. He said, that's good for us. Nights. I read the documents the way I read blueprints, looking for the load-bearing language, ownership, responsibility, assumption of debt. Linda was so focused on what she was getting, she never asked what came with it. Fear visited me, of course. Moments where I wondered if I was surrendering the life I knew. But then I'd remember Evan at this table asking if we were moving. I'd hear Linda's voice in the courtroom. Everything except the sun. The doubt would harden into resolve. I wasn't preparing for court. I was preparing for what came after. By the final draft, our house felt like a model home after the movers leave, surfaces clean, everything hollow underneath. Linda walked through it like a prospective buyer, heels clicking on hardwood I'd refinished myself. Yes, I'll have the house by summer, she said into her phone one afternoon, not bothering to lower her voice. Rick's folding. He doesn't have the stomach for a fight. I stood in the garage, pretending to organize my tools. Each word confirmed what I already knew. She thought this was about strength. She didn't understand inspections. I packed my things. Not the furniture she wanted, but the items that carried the weight of my hands. My tool belt, the hammer with the chipped handle, the level I'd used on half the houses in Montgomery County. I wrapped them carefully, like leaving a job site for the last time. Evan hovered in the doorway. You taking all that? Yeah, I'll need it. For what? For starting over. He nodded. He didn't smile, but he didn't look scared. That meant everything. The hardest was the kitchen door frame. On the inside edge, in pencil and faded marker, were Evan's height marks, 8, 10, 12, each one dated. I ran my thumb over the highest, 17, the year he shot up so fast nothing fit. Linda walked in. You're not taking that, she said, almost joking. No, I said, I'm not. She shrugged. Good. It's part of the house. I stared a second longer. Some things don't travel. They stay where they're made. The night before the hearing, we ate pizza on paper plates. Linda was out. I didn't ask where. Dad, Evan said, chewing slowly. Are you sure about this? Letting her take everything? I listened to the refrigerator hum, the clock tick, sounds I'd known for decades. No, I said, I'm not sure, but I'm sure about you. He looked at me, then nodded. Okay. That was enough. The courtroom smelled of old paper and floor polish. Linda sat 2 chairs down, posture perfect in a gray suit. She looked ready. Judge Klein entered. The bailiff called order. The judge reviewed the terms. His voice steady. House to Linda. Cars to Linda. Accounts to Linda. Business interest to Linda. Custody of Evan to me. I felt each item slide away. I'd already let go. Mr. Holloway, do you confirm? I do. Mrs. Holloway? Yes. I signed first. My name looked small on the page. Linda signed eagerly, handed the stack to her lawyer with a satisfied sigh. It was over, or so she thought. Judge Klein stacked the papers. Anything further? Linda leaned back. Her lawyer started to shake her head. Tom stood. Your Honor, we respectfully request the court acknowledge the attached exhibits. Linda turned sharply. What exhibits? Her lawyer frowned, snatched her copy, flipped it open. Her face changed. A pause. A blink. Color drained. Mara. Linda whispered. The lawyer flipped another page. Her breathing went shallow. Judge Klein adjusted his glasses. Ms. Keene. She stood abruptly, chair screeching. Your Honor, I need a moment. Linda grabbed her arm. What is it? The lawyer shook her off, voice tight. This changes things. In what way? She looked at Linda, then at the judge, panic flashing. Your Honor, these exhibits indicate significant undisclosed liabilities tied to the business assets my client has just accepted, in full. Linda's smile vanished. What are you talking about? Her lawyer turned, eyes wide. Linda, these reports, these obligations, they're yours now. All of them. Linda stood. Rick, what did you do? I met her gaze. I signed what you asked for. The room buzzed. Low murmurs. Someone leaned forward. Judge Klein raised a hand. Lower your voice. Counsel. The lawyer swallowed hard. Your Honor, this includes tax exposure, outstanding debts, compliance issues connected to the assets Mrs. Holloway insisted on retaining. Linda laughed sharply. That's ridiculous. You said everything was clean. Her lawyer's voice cracked. I said what you showed me was clean. Judge Klein closed the file slowly. I will be reviewing these in detail. Linda turned on me, face tight. You tricked me. I shook my head. No, I stopped holding things together for you. The bailiff shifted. The air grew heavy. Judge Klein looked from her to me. The court acknowledges the exhibits. There may be further proceedings regarding financial disclosure and responsibility. Linda sank back into her chair, stunned. Her lawyer stared at the papers like they might combust. For the first time, I saw it in Linda's eyes. She hadn't won. The room didn't explode. It just groaned. Like a beam under weight it couldn't carry. Her lawyer was the first to break. This is a disaster. The word echoed. Compose yourself, counsel. She turned back, breath hitching. My client has accepted assets with substantial undisclosed liabilities, tax exposure, vendor debts, storage violations. These were not disclosed. Linda shot up. You told me everything was fine. Her lawyer spun. You told me everything was fine. These exhibits show otherwise. A whisper behind me. Oh my God. Judge Klein held up a hand. Mrs. Holloway, sit down. She didn't. Her voice rose. Brittle. Rick, you did this. You planned this. I kept my hands on the table. I agreed to what you asked for. You hid it. No. I stopped covering it up. That's when her lawyer's composure shattered. It wasn't theatrical. It was the sound a professional makes when the ground gives way. Your Honor, she insisted on sole ownership. That means full responsibility. Every lien, every tax obligation, she accepted them when she demanded everything. Judge Klein's jaw tightened. He leaned forward, scanning the top page. His expression cooled, focused. These indicate funds transferred from a protected educational account, he said slowly, and assets stored in locations not properly permitted. Linda's mouth opened, then closed. Did he authorize these transfers? The judge asked. She didn't answer. Her lawyer pressed on, desperation edging her voice. My client believed these assets were clean. She was not made aware. Counsel, your client certified these disclosures. This court takes non-disclosure seriously. Linda's face drained. The confidence cracked, then split. This is unfair. I just wanted what I was owed. Her lawyer turned on her. You wanted everything, and now you have it. The judge sat back, steepling his fingers. The settlement is executed. However, I am ordering a review of financial disclosures and referring certain matters for examination. The bailiff shifted closer. Linda looked at me one last time, eyes searching for regret, or mercy. What about him? He gets away with this. Judge Klein's voice was firm. Mr. Holloway relinquished ownership. Liability follows ownership. Silence fell, deeper this time. Something loosened in my chest, not triumph, relief. The weight I'd held up for years finally shifted off my shoulders. Linda sank back. Her phone buzzed on the table. Once, twice. She didn't look. Her lawyer stared ahead, pale, already calculating damage control that might not exist. Judge Klein struck the gavel once. Court is adjourned. I didn't look back as I walked out. Outside, the cold Ohio air hit my face, sharp and clean. I took a deep breath. For the first time in a long time, the structure behind me wasn't mine to hold up anymore.